Before y'all do anything, make sure you subscribe to that channel, man. Hit that like button. Comment down below if you rockin' with Young Dolph. Put the Dolph emoji. Let me know where y'all from. So we just heard that Moneybagg Yo might be getting looked at by the feds again due to the fact that he had the connections with Blac Youngsta before the CMG situation. And so he knows for a fact that somebody had to tell Yo Gotti that Blac Youngsta was the hitter and that they could have him come join CMG because he was willing to crash out for him. A lot of times you got to understand, people bring people into their teams because they need a crash test dummy. They need somebody that's a hothead that'll be willing to get their hands dirty and go out in the streets and do the things that they might not be willing to do. We know for a fact that Yo Gotti wasn't going to be able to step into the streets. Yo Gotti can't go out there and be the one who does these things, so he had to have other people handle his business for him, and that's what a lot of people are saying is what's going on. And so Moneybagg Yo, he's the one that was in the group with Blac Youngsta, and so he had to vouch for Blac Youngsta to join CMG. When Yo Gotti said he needs somebody to come and join this Dolph beef, he needs somebody to come and actually be able to do things in the streets and make people, you know what I mean? And so that's when they looked at Blac Youngsta. Moneybagg Yo was the one that was saying, yeah, this dude, I know for a fact, he don't think about anything. Whatever you tell him to do, he's going to go ahead and do. And that's the problem with a lot of people these days, man. They don't think before they act. And so they know that any decision you make, you go out there and you try to hit somebody up, you try to hit a lick on somebody, anything like that, that comes with a whole lot of years behind it if you get caught. And so this is one of the things where Blac Youngsta didn't think that he was going to get caught up for any of the stuff that went on, man. He thought if he just played along with Yo Gotti and what everybody said, that they were supposed to have the connections to make sure that nobody gets caught from their group. But little did he know that you still have to fight against the feds. And so when the feds came and started figuring everything out, because this Young Dolph case, they was looking at it so closely and they realized who was really what in this situation. And so when they started looking at that, he forgot about the fact that he's the one that was doing all of these things beforehand. If you look at the two other times that Dolph got ran up on, Blac Youngsta and Gotti were the primary persons of interest. And so they were already basically labeled as the suspects. So when the feds hear that this thing happened to Dolph and that CMG and all these things about the rap groups and they trying to do the Ricos, they went back and looked at it and they say, yeah, they got a history between these two groups, PRE and CMG. And not even that, but more specifically, it was a beef between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti. And all the people that got involved in it from Yo Gotti's side was really like people like Blac Youngsta, people like Gotti, people like Big Jook, and they all happen to be a part of CMG. That's why nobody is surprised that people are saying out here that it could be a Rico on them, because the same exact thing happened to YSL. The same exact thing happened to a lot of other people because they put their business out there and they attached everything going back to the money maker for them, CMG. And so that's the one thing they've made a lot of mistakes, is that you're not supposed to actually have whatever you do that's the wrong stuff connected to something that's supposed to be a legitimate business. That's how they got him with the Rico, because they realized that the millions and millions of dollars that's coming through CMG, that is going to the same people who connected the dots and actually snitched on themselves, put it in their songs, got involved in the cases, and was there in the interrogation rooms. Like, when they really looked at Blac Youngsta and Gotti and Big Jook as the persons of interest and the suspects in this whole entire thing, they knew that each and every single one of them was getting a bread coming through CMG. And this is the main reason why they looked into the Rico, because the Rico was basically to where they had a whole entire thing and it was benefiting it. You know, they was doing all of these things in the streets, trying to get people out the way, having this person put money on their head, having this person drive the Bentley, this person slide here and slide there. All of the stuff that they individually got busted for and that they being looked at for all came back to the same purpose, and the bread was coming from the same people. This is the reason why that they looked into the Rico. This is the reason why Jay-Z told Yo Gotti to get Blac Youngsta off his group. Anybody that was doing something that would come back and put the investigation on them, that's who they told to get kicked off the group, because at the end of the day, when the Rico comes, they don't want the Rico coming on Blac Youngsta, starting from there, and then just because he's still in CMG, then they push the Rico on the CMG because that's who's getting the benefit from it. So what you got to understand is that this is the reason why they took Moneybagg Yo and moved him to Bread Gang. They took Blac Youngsta and separated him out. He's back at Heavy Camp. Everybody went their own separate ways because they know that the feds are watching each and every single single one of them, and it's because they all connected to the Dolph. That's something that they can't get away from. We know that the Bentley was there, that they were saying that was in the picture that they released, and so that Bentley belonged to somebody. It's really only two of them in the whole state, and one of them is white, and that's the black one. And people said that they seen when Moneybagg Yo got a brand new Bentley and he was giving it to his girlfriend. That was just a couple of years ago. A lot of people think that there's no coincidence that that could be the same exact Bentley, and this is why they made the ultimate decision immediately when that came out to put Moneybagg Yo onto Bread Gang. He no longer had a CMG chain. They took that back. They had to smelt it down and melt it. And at the end of the day, all the people that Yo Gotti was bringing in, this is why they're not taking off no more, because they didn't want to have to deal with the fact that they already had other things going on, and then now they join CMG and they're getting Rico'd, or they're getting looked at for these things and that thing, and they didn't realize that they didn't know Young Dolph, so they didn't know about the stuff that was going on. They thought that the Young Dolph Yo Gotti beef was something from the past. So had they had known that everything was at the level that it was today, to where they was looking after Blac Youngsta, they've been trying to chase him down. He had to move out the country, and the situation with Blac Youngsta's brother, CEO TZ, all the people that fell, if they really paid close attention to that and they connected the dots, they really wouldn't have joined CMG, unless it was that they had no other option, because, you know, the money speaks. If they ain't got too much of it, then they're gonna go ahead and take the offer that Yo Gotti's giving them. And that's exactly what happened to Glorilla, Lil Papa, all these people, ESTG, and you already see what ESTG's doing out there, man. And he ducking interviews and this and that. A lot of people, man, they try to get the CMG interviews. They didn't want to have to ask about Young Dolph, but because they know for a fact that Yo Gotti and them can't speak on that. Moneybagg Yo almost walked up out of that interview in London when they asked him about PRE. And this was fresh off the Dolph stuff, man. This is why Yo Gotti was trying to come out and do all these interviews, because he knows for a fact that he has to get some type of different type of message out there before it's too late, so that way he could say he was working on this and that, man. A lot of people were catching on to what's really going on. He had to basically, before this Rico comes, before this Dolph trial starts in early 2024, they got to do everything they can to make sure that CMG is bringing in all this money while they're on the inside, because when the Dolph case really starts in the Fed sweep early 2024, they gonna get everybody from CMG that's actually involved. If they have a real legitimate reason that they was involved and they got a way to bring them in, they're gonna do that. And so once they grab everybody, and there's gonna be nobody left to run CMG. So that's why Yo Gotti, everybody is scrambling right now to try to get all their ducks in a row, so that when the Rico happens and people have to go in, that CMG could still be bringing in bread. That way, if they do get out or anything, if they get a plea deal or whatever it is, the plea deal that they're trying to work out with Yo Gotti, with Moneybagg Yo and all of them, if they do that, then they might be able to get CMG back, and it might not be all the way deconstructed down to nothing. It might still have a couple of people that's popping, or they might have just did the right things to still have it bringing in enough money for them to survive. And so this is what's going on. That's why they pushing so hard to get Moneybagg Yo to do all of these hits. That's why they pushing so hard to get all of these people on the team, and that's why they had to make sure that they had the upper end on these contracts. You know, with Glorilla, they had a definite advantage over her. Moneybagg Yo, ESTG, all of them, they basically got the crumbs of the pieces, and that CMG getting like 90% of everything, due to the fact that they got to make sure they recoup everything to fight the Rico charges, to fight everything like that. And this is the same thing that YSL was trying to do. They knew that they was about to get taken down for the Rico, so Young Thug was making sure to get all the artists to drop all the new hits, to make sure that it's sending in money to pay the lawyers, to pay the Rico, to pay the commissary. In order for them to be able to live the way that they was living, they're gonna have to make things like that happen. And at the end of the day, it's gonna be interesting to see what ends up happening with this whole entire thing, because we know that Yo Gotti, they not ready for it. Moneybagg Yo, they definitely not ready for it, man. They not the same as if they have to go in from this Rico. A whole lot of people are gonna be waiting for him, and they're gonna be like, man, we rocking with Dolph over here. If they get behind bars for this Rico, if this whole thing happens when the Dolph trial starts, man, a lot of people that's in the system, they really actually supported Young Dolph and actually had a lot of respect for it. So if they see somebody that did something to Dolph come in, and that's associated with someone that did it, or has some type of like planning in it, the mastermind, the orchestration, anything like that, then they're going to have a lot of problems on their hand. This is the reason why the judge didn't want to have to throw Govan in, because he knows that Govan's first day in, it's going to be a whole lot of people that's got something to say to him, that's going to want to see him about these certain things, because they know that, just like the judge and the Fed said, he was the mastermind of the Dolph hit. And so when he goes inside, there's going to be a whole lot of people that's waiting for him to get even the score. If a lot of the things, if they don't get caught up in the streets or anywhere like that, then basically when they get the justice for Dolph, and if they happen to go in or anything like that, then there's going to be a whole lot of people that's going to make sure that they get what's due and all that, because they all was really rocking with Young Dolph. Not a lot of people was really rocking with Gotti, CMG, and Govan and Blac Youngsta, and them. It's like 80% of Memphis was really on Young Dolph's side, and that's the thing that everybody got to understand. And this is why everybody's looking at it like, yeah, they have to basically do what they got to do to get the justice, because Dolph was a real one that a lot of people lost, and it just ain't the same. And so this is the reason why when people look at the fact that Gotti went to Bali, Blac Youngsta went to Cancun, Moneybagg Yo is out the picture, he moved to Atlanta, that all is due to the fact that they know that the Feds is hot on their trail. You hear it in their songs. They always saying in their songs, Gotti's new song, the Feds watching him. Blac Youngsta, he did that one diss, and he's saying that he wrote and literally made the message to everybody after his brother got hit up, that if he slides and crashes out and does some crazy things, that he don't care what happens to him. He's going to end up having to go away for a long time, or even worse. And we don't, hopefully nothing like that happens, man, because at the end of the day, people got to realize that you shouldn't be doing none of the stuff that they doing. Look how everything ends up, man. Choose the better way of life. Choose a different path, man. Don't make the same mistakes that these dudes made. Look how it's ending up. They first thought it was cool rapping about all the stuff that they was doing. They thought it was cool being a rapper and having a beef with another rapper. But all in all, man, things got taken way too far. People got way too much into their emotions and did some things that they can't undo. And at this point, they got to face the consequences that they're going to be dealt with in life, because at the end of the day, this is the straw that they pulled. This is what they chose that they wanted to do. This is what they manifested, and it's all coming back to haunt them. It's what's going to happen next. You got to stay tuned on the next episode to figure out. Make sure you subscribe.